Hello, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started, and we're going to go straight to questions. Let's start out with Dean Legge, and then we'll go to Jake Rowe.
Okay, Kirby, two things. First of all, y'all are ranked 7th nationally in scoring offense, which I think is the highest since you've been here. What's your overall view at this point of your offense this season? We've had so much discussion about the quarterbacks, the injuries, and all this, that, and the other, but y'all are ranked 7th in the country. What's your overall assessment of that? And then secondly, at Thanksgiving, are you a big turkey guy? You think it's too dry? Where are you on the turkey scale?
I love fried turkey. I love my mother's dressing, and my wife has duplicated it. So I like turkey and dressing. I'm a turkey and dressing guy. I don't like dry turkey, but the good fried ones got a little juice to them. As far as offensively, I've really been proud of what those guys have done in terms of the injuries we've had. We just had countless number of guys in and out, and revolving door at receiver. Kind of tight end's probably been the most consistent position, but even Darnell is, he was a lot faster before the injury, and he's had to really work himself back into shape. So overall, I'm pleased with those guys have been able to do. We've been explosive. We've avoided some third downs because of our efficiency and our explosiveness, and I think that's a big part of it. But there's a lot of things we can work on too. There's some games we haven't been as consistent running it. We've turned the ball over more than we should, and those are all things that we can't afford to do in the future.
Kirby, Broderick Jones, 3 starts at left tackle. We got to see a little bit of Jamari yesterday. He looked okay, but where is he in terms of that left tackle spot, and how pleased have you been with the way he kind of handled those 3 starts?
I'm very pleased. I think Broderick's an extremely hard worker. I've said repeatedly, he buys into the team concept as good as any player I've been around. He's so happy when we do well, regardless of his role. He's embraced his role. He's become more coachable. When you used to tell him something, he got offended by it. Now he embraces it and says, I'll work on that. I'll continue to grow and get better. We want him to be more physical in the run game. We want him to, work on being stronger at the point of attack and getting movement. But I want him to be more consistent in his assignments. But that comes with experience, and he's getting that game by game.
All right, let's go to Anthony Dasher and then to Mark Weiser.
Hey, Coach, I just want to ask you about the combo this year of Darian Kendrick and Keely Ringo. Didn't have a lot of depth, obviously, that position when the season started out, and they've been able to kind of, stay healthy and kind of do the job. Just kind of what's your take on him has been for this season?
Both have good size. Both have good bulk. That's helped us in terms of holding the point, tackling. So much of football now is played on the perimeter, and that's where I think we've been able to hold up nicely in terms of point of attack blocks and putting hands on people, because they're both 200-pound kids. And they both have good length. They've both given up some plays, and they've both been protected by a pretty good front at times in terms of, maybe when they got beat, the quarterback got rushed, and that's helped them some. But they've done everything we've asked, and they take all their walkthrough reps very seriously. They're very in tune. They take notes in meetings. I've really been impressed with DK's maturity in terms of leadership in that DB room. He's played in a lot of big games. He provides a lot of confidence for the other guys in there.
So you guys have a lot of experienced defensive minds in your coaching room between yourself and Coach Muschamp. I wanted to ask you about Dan Lanning, though, in terms of as the coordinator, how he's grown into that role. And do you give him any advice, as his name's been bandied about, to find the right job if he's, looking for a head coaching job in the future?
I missed the very beginning of that. I didn't know if it was a question or a comment.
I was asking, with your experience and Coach Muschamp's experience, Dan obviously has, guys that have been around the block in terms of running defenses. But I want to ask you how he's grown in his role as a coordinator.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job. I think he's very detailed, very organized. He's a very good motivator. He has a lot of energy. He invests in the players. he thinks outside the box and teaches in a way that keeps it interesting. And I think that's really important in today's day and age of, all the guys on social media and things. They enjoy his intensity, and he's done a tremendous job. He's done a great job since he had the job. I mean, he's not really grown into the role. He's embraced the role, and he's had a lot of help. Glenn's helped him a lot, and we've had other experienced guys in the secondary come and go. And Trey's it had a lot of consistency and continuity, which I think helps him be successful. He's had good players. He recruits well. We all recruit well, and we all take ownership in that. So that part's been really good for him, and he's embraced it. As far as coaching opportunities, I help anybody, anytime. I don't get into the advice because I think that's an independent decision. If they ask me my opinion, I certainly will tell them, what I think, because I think that there's certain really good jobs out there. And number one thing is, can you get good players and can you win your conference? And those opportunities will present themselves if you just be where your feet are. And I tell him to worry about that, and the rest will take care of itself.
Thank you.
All right, next question from Seth Emerson, and then to Mike Griffith.
Kirby, I guess piggybacking on the secondary questions, how much do you think the adjustment y'all have made this year in doing a little more zone, or maybe it's even more zone, how much is that to credit for what y'all have been able to do in the pass defense this year?
I don't really know. I feel like it's much to do with our pass defense being maybe improved is the front guys that are playing in a second year. We probably weren't as good all the way around last year. I mean, Devontae was not the player last year that he is this year. He shedded 15, 20 pounds. Jalen Carter was not the player last year that he is this year. He's a true freshman. We had some guys on the edge that could rush, but we have guys on the edge now that can rush. So I think the biggest change that's helped us be successful is the rush and combination of some things we changed. But we're winning a lot more on first and second down to create third and longs than we did last year, and we've given up less explosives, which helps too. I don't know what you can attribute it to exactly. It's I don't think we're as deep as we were last year in the secondary. I can assure you that.
Kirby, your offense this year, we've seen different personalities, different times. You mentioned the personnel changing. You've mentioned matching up with the opponents. Going into this last game for the offense, what are some things that you want to see in this final warm up before the postseason?
Just want to see improvement. Stetson, we give him things, targets each week. Decision making, quick decisions, not holding the ball. Not when you start extending plays, good things can happen, but bad things can happen. So you've got to be wise about the way you go about it. You got to practice it that way. We got to have 11 guys on the same page. So many of our plays that fail, when you go back and look at them, what caused that play to be unsuccessful? One got into his job. The one where everybody does what they're supposed to do. Even if they get beat, they do what they're supposed to do. We tend to have a positive gain or no gain. It's the lost yardages, the sacks, and those turnovers that come back to haunt us the most. So we're trying to remove that and continue being explosive and being dangerous. We want to be on attack.
All right, take the next question from Chip Towers, and then to Tyler Griffith.
Yeah, Coach, the college football playoff ranking show on again tonight. Yeah, obviously, there's no mystery about y'all's situation, and I know it's something you can't control, but as a college football participant, a fan, I guess, to some degree, do you keep up with who's where and kind of the scenarios, and so you can follow it when your game's over and that kind of stuff? Are you following who's in, who's out, that kind of thing?
No.
At all?
No. I have time. I mean, I'm trying to go do third down right now and do red area and do everything else. I don't have any time for it. I mean, between recruiting, worrying about our players, and trying to get ready for a game, it's the least of my worries.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Coach. So you've been around a lot of great defenses in your time as a coach. I just want to ask, with the way that college football offenses are changing, is there certain traits that you see when you're recruiting or looking for a player that may be different than, traits from maybe 10 years ago? And if so, like, what are those traits that you're looking for when you're looking for building a great defense?
Traits haven't changed much. Size and speed will never change. I mean, football is a tough sport. And if you have small people, they struggle sometimes. I mean, every one of you can mention a small guy that's good, but you can't mention a lot of them. So size, speed is what it takes. I think more and more intelligence and desire to be great becomes critical, because no matter how talented you are, if you don't have the ability to listen and learn and have discipline, you won't be a good football player. There's so many eye discipline things. I think one of the most critical factors is, can you run? Do you have size? And is it important to you? Because you won't make it here if it's not important to you. Because I promise you, we'll demand so much excellence of you that you'll either leave or you'll just decide to go play somewhere else before you stay here, because it's way too important to the coaches and the leaders on the team to hold that standard. And the standard will eventually weed guys out. So I just want to get the right guys here so I don't have to go through that.
All right, let's go to Palmer Thombs and then to Davis Baker.
Yeah, Kirby, Channing said yesterday that he felt like this offseason was probably the hardest of his career, and that it was paying off this year. Do you see some truth in that? And if so, what was different about this offseason?
Well, we didn't. I don't know. It might have been the COVID offseason was just altogether different. I mean, we didn't have a spring. We didn't go. So, a lot of those kids are responding to the fact they didn't do anything last year. I'm talking about the year before last. So when you compare it to that, obviously it was tougher. But we did make some decisions as a staff and after the Cincinnati game, and just said, hey, we're going to do different. We're not doing our early morning workouts in the indoor. We're going to go to the stadium, and we're going to do it in the stadium at 5:36 and get out in the elements and see if we can make this team a little tougher and require it. And I think we did 8 of those or something like that, just to say it was cold, it was wet, it was, we just tried to make it a little tougher. And they did the same things they would have done in the indoor, but we just tried to change it up because I didn't feel like we're getting where we need to go. I certainly don't think that's the only reason that we've been successful. I just think some of those kids think of it as it was a little tougher.
Coach, you guys had a season high in punt return yards on Saturday. How would you assess that unit this year, and how do you guys continue that momentum heading towards the end of the season?
Yeah, that unit's been a disappointment. We haven't done what we needed to do. We haven't held up as well as we have in the past, and last week's not a great measure of that. So I'd love to tell you we're going in the right direction, but those guys were overmatched.
All right, we got time for a couple of more. Let's go to Connor Riley, and then we'll finish up with David Pascal.
Yeah, hey, Kirby. Quick injury updates on George, Kendall, Chris Smith, and I guess Jamari.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Chris is still, I mean, he's not able to go the other day. He was not able to go today, and we're trying to rehab and get him back, hopefully for this game, because I know he knows what to do, but he has not been able to practice. You all saw Jamari out there yesterday. He was out there today. And then George has been practicing with us, doing more. We've repped him with the 3s and the 2s some. Still waiting to get him cleared, but we didn't have him with the scouts. We had him working with the offense, trying to kind of integrate him back into getting the calls and knowing the assignments. But he was still black jersey, no contact today. Who else?
Kendall, you said you'd.
Yeah, Kendall, we were hopeful to get Kendall back for this week. It's a process. I had 2 of those injuries, 2 MCLs in my high school and college career, and they're confidence injuries. They're like, man, do I have my stability? Do I feel normal? And he's going through those emotions of really pushing through. What I like is his toughness. He does rehab 2-3 times a day. He's gone, he's been in a black shirt and been able to do some things rep wise. He's much better than he was. But to say that he's ready to play right now, I don't know that he's there yet.
Kirby, when you're looking to win each week, but also build to where your team's playing its best at the end, are you thankful this week that you don't have to play a triple option? I mean, was that a distraction this time of year to do something so abruptly different? I know defenders hated prepping for the cut blocks, but is it kind of nice that you don't have to deal with that anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't enjoy dealing with that. That's what you're asking. I mean, I did not enjoy that anything whatsoever, but that's not a decision I make, so I don't get emotional about it. I just do what you have to do. And it's very different. It's like just going away from your calls for a week. So glad we don't have to do that.
Thank you, Coach Smart.